Thank you very much. Joining us on the broadcast today is University Grants Commission Chairman, Mr. M. Jagdish Kumar. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us here on Mirror Now. Pleasure to have you on the show on this very, very important day. Tell us a little bit about this radical reform that has now come into the higher education space in the country. The new entrance test, the Common University Entrance Test.
Well, you said it's a radical reform. I would say it is a very student-friendly reform, and it is part of the National Education Policy 2020, which is suggested to have one national entrance examination across the country for admissions in the undergraduate programs. So this year, UGC has decided to conduct the Common University Entrance Test for admission in UG programs in all the 45 central universities, and this examination will be held in first week of July, and the actual application process will start in 1st April on National Testing Agency website.
Okay, could you tell us a little bit more about this particular, common entrance test? Is it only going to be for central universities, or is it also going to cover private universities in the country? What is the plan really?
Well, CUET scores can be used by any university in the country. But however, for the coming session in 2022-23, for these admissions, we have made it compulsory in all central universities. And today we have issued a public notice which clearly says that whether you are a state university, a private university, or deemed to be university, anyone can use the CUET score.
Okay, so also now this is something which is going to impact students across the country. I call it a radical reform in the higher education space. You said that it is a student-friendly education reform. I want to understand from you the rationale behind it, and what would the scores then of class 12th really mean for any student who is looking to get admission into, a central university in the country?
We need to look at how the admissions in UG programs are done across the country. Some universities use the 12th standard marks, and many universities conduct their own entrance tests. As a result, what is happening is the students are forced to write multiple entrance examinations across the country. And when you use the 12th standard marks as a basis for admissions, we also know that there is a lot of diversity in the marks awarded by various boards across the country. So the rationale behind introducing this CUET is to provide a level playing ground for the students so that the diversity that is seen in the +2 marks will not affect the admission process. And also the students need not have to go to different universities to write multiple entrance examinations. So basically it is to provide a level playing ground to the students. But in addition to that, the CUET will also be conducted in 13 languages, 1 English and 12 Indian languages. And the advantage of this is even if the students who are coming from a rural background, who have studied in their own local languages, can easily attempt the CUET. And some people are saying that, is this the end of the board marks? Does it mean that students will neglect their board examinations? Certainly not, because while the admission is based on CUET score, the individual universities can still set a particular percentage in the 12th standard to be eligible to apply to the admissions in a given university. So just as in IIT admissions, we have certain percentage that we say that you must acquire in your +2 in order to get admission in IIT using your JEE score. So therefore, both can be done. And I strongly believe that with this, students will focus more on being better learners rather than just work towards getting 98 and 99%, which ultimately leads to all kinds of stress in the minds of the people. So from any angle, I see this reform as a highly student-friendly approach.
Could you just elaborate a little bit more on what you said just now? So you're trying to tell us that the eligibility criteria for every university that comes under center can actually be different. So it'll be the discretion of the university to have its own set of eligibility criteria. For example, if it wants to consider the marks of class 12th board, it can. So it will not just be on the basis of this common entrance test that one will be able to secure admission into a particular university or a particular college. The class 12 board marks will be important too.
That is true. You see, every university is an autonomous organization and they have their own admission policies. They decide what should be the threshold marks in the +2 for admission in their UG programs. So therefore, the existing admission policies of the universities will not be affected by being part of the CUET. All that we are saying is that let the students across the country write the CUET and apply to the universities with their CUET score. The final selection will be based on the CUET score ranking. But however, the individual university can set certain threshold marks in the +2 in order for them to be eligible to apply. So therefore, the students have to focus both on their 11th standard and 12th standard, and they also have to do well in the CUET. Because we do not want to affect the autonomy of the individual institutions because they have their own admission policies. For example, right. For example, in some of the universities, they have reservations for the local students. Or in some universities, they have reservations for the minority students. So we are saying that the existing reservation policies will continue to be there. The existing admission policies of the universities will continue to be there. However, the final selection of the students will be based solely on the CUET score. But there are some areas such as fine arts, music, dance, theater. So there the individual universities can conduct a practical examination or a viva and use certain percentage of marks for the interview and the practical examination, and the remaining marks, maybe 70% or so, will come from the CUET scores. But this exception is only for few areas such as fine arts and theater, dance and music.
Okay, I was about to ask you about the issue of reservation then. Will this bring some sort of changes in your reservation policies in universities too?
Okay, just wait. I could not, let this be the last question. Could you please repeat your last question?
I was trying to understand, sir, will this have any impact on the reservation that we see, the reservation policies in various universities?
No, the reservation policies will not be affected at all. The constitutional reservation policies will continue to be there. Over and above that, if any university has a reservation for the local students or minority students, those reservations also will be there. All that we are saying is that even if certain seats are reserved for the students coming from the schools of a university, for example, Vishwa Bharati has 2 schools, and the students who pass out in +2, they can directly get admission in Vishwa Bharati UG program. So Vishwa Bharati can, for example, conduct CUET for these internal students also and admit them based on the CUET score. So to give a clear answer to your question, the existing reservation policies, the existing admission policies of the universities will not be affected, except that the final selection of the students should be based on only the CUET score. So I have to conclude here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jagdish Kumar, for speaking with us here on Mirror Now. So that was the UGC chief speaking exclusively to Mirror Now, helping us understand, helping us decode, one, the rationale behind the new university entrance test that's going to be there, and the eligibility criteria. One important takeaway for all the students across the country who are looking to get admissions in the central universities next year. This new change, this new exam does not mean that you will not have to bother about the marks that you get in your class 12th board exams. Those are going to be very, very important as well. Plus, now there is going to be another layer that you will have to cross before you enter into the college for higher education, and that's going to happen via this common entrance test.